You know, I think video is the present and frankly the future of B2B sales. And my guest today is a top performing sales leader turned a video strategist, a content strategist. He's coached hundreds of founders and to help people turn their story into $20 million in pipeline. However, doing so without those poor sods becoming influencers, right? Because I'm not cool enough to be an influencer. He's got a background in leading high-performing sales teams, and now he's helping teams build trust and drive revenue in under 60 seconds of screen time. Welcome to Leadership That Sells. This is the podcast that helps you to lead first and sell more. Now, most sales leaders, they're leading the wrong kind of team, and they don't even know it. They think they've got a football team, but the reality is they're running a golf club. Each player's out in their own course. They're chasing a similar trophy, but they never pass the ball. And then we force collaboration and we slow them down. And then we drive competition and nobody learns. And worst, when we think that we're empowering people, we actually step back and we abandon the biggest lever for growth that we actually have. I'm Paul Morden. I'm your host and the founder of Leadership That Sells. It is a leadership power-up for sales leaders. It's a light, fast reset that gives your team the simple, practical shifts they need in how to lead so they can finally lead the team they actually have. If you're ready to fix the model, grab our free parallel team playbook at the Practical Leadership Academy. Danny DelVecchio, thank you very much indeed for joining me.
It's my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
So you are the consummate content connoisseur. You've generated millions of dollars in pipeline through video, through content. Now, there's a lot of people out there who are thinking, yeah, mate, but I sell to enterprise. I sell to the grown-ups. You know, I'm not on TikTok because my clients are not on TikTok. I'm not doing video. Why are they not doing video? Why is that a wrong approach, Danny?
Ooh. So that's a very in-depth question, but mainly there's three primary reasons why people don't do video. Number one is because it makes them uncomfortable. That's number one. They don't feel like, they feel awkward talking to camera. Number two is because they don't have time. They're running a business, they are leading a sales team, or they're a sales rep. They have meetings, they have prospecting, they have all the things that they need to be doing. They don't have constant time to be messing around making videos. And then number three is because they kind of just don't know what to do, right? There's a lot that goes into making video content. It's kind of like, well, where do I post it? Do I post it on TikTok? Do I post it on Instagram? Do I post it on LinkedIn, Facebook, right? Or how long do my videos need to be? Can I keep them under 60 seconds? Can I do 3 minutes? Can I do 5 minutes? Can I do 10 minutes? Can I do 20 seconds, right? So people don't really understand, all the things that go into making a video, that they just decide just not to do it instead, because it's kind of overwhelming and complicated for them.
I think the default, as when you're selling anything to anyone, the default is inaction. The default is the status quo, right? And the status quo is working so well for everyone right now. Not. Okay? There's no one out there that I know right now in this economic environment that has a full pipeline. And frankly, anything that's going to give us an edge, I think, is worthy of consideration. There's a big thing that I've got, which is all marketing needs to lead to a conversation, right? Sales happens through conversations. And it's a really human conversation. The only edge we have as salespeople, as communicators, is our ability to do that at a human-to-human level, really one-to-one. Challenge is, how do you get to that one-to-one conversation? How do you prove that, A, I exist, I have something you want, and B, when we eventually talk, you'll be able to trust me, or you'll even pick up the phone and call me because you think I've got something of worth. I can solve a problem you might have. Content. Now you said that just as we were chatting before, you shifted from being Mr. Video to being Mr. Content, right? So you've now gone from video on easy mode to content on easy mode. And I love that. It's a nice, simple, flowing title here. Why did you make that shift, and why are you talking about content rather than video?
So, for number one, I believe that video is still the best form of content because I think it is the most effective in terms of building trust, building rapport, building connection and familiarity. When I get on a sales call, I hear this phrase a lot. I feel like I know you. And that's an unfair advantage.
Yeah.
So anybody that has been doing video content and has an audience that they've built from creating video content has an unfair advantage when they get on a sales call with somebody who has seen them multiple times through their content. Because there's a little bit of a more of a comfort level. So typically when you get on a sales call with somebody that you've never had any interaction with before, defenses are high. But when people have seen your video content over and over again and they feel like they know you and they feel like there's like, they kind of understand your personality and they feel a little bit connected to you, the defenses come down on a sales call. And that is the big advantage to having your video content. So I do believe that although I'm shifting from video on easy mode to content on easy mode, video still needs to be the foundation. Video should be the foundation of all of your content. But there is so much potential for what you can do with your video content. And you can take this video content and you can turn it into other things, right? So you could take your video content and you can turn it into a written post. You can turn it into a email or a newsletter or a blog article, long form written style content. Or you can turn it into short and sweet tweets for Twitter or Substack or Threads or any of these kind of, short, quick hitter type platforms. You could turn it into infographics. You can turn it into lead magnets. You can turn it into workshops. The video content should be the foundation of all the content that you build on it. So over the last 2 years, I've been helping people just with the video part. And the reason that I shifted from video on easy mode to content on easy mode is because, like I said, there's so much more potential when you have this video content as the foundation. And what I'm building for my clients and what I've built for myself, and I'm actually even turning this into a full-on SaaS product right now, is where you can take a conversation that you've had, whether it's a sales call, it's a client consultation, maybe it's a podcast appearance that you were on, maybe it's a workshop that you ran, and you can take that transcript and you can plug it into this new SaaS product or whatever, and you can turn it into all of your content so that all of your content now comes from your conversations. And in a world where everybody is just creating AI content right now,
Please.
Using AI, but using your voice and your insights and your thoughts in a extended interview like this, or again, in a sales call, or, in a setting where you're just being yourself and the AI is able to capture your language, it's able to capture your tone, and it's able to capture your words, and then using it to create more content. Because what most people do is they're like, oh, I got a couple of ideas. AI, write me this idea. And it doesn't have any soul to it. But you can still use AI. You can still use all these tools available to save you a ton of time and a ton of stress and headache. But at the same time, if you use your video content as the foundation for that, you are going to get a hell of a lot better result. And that's what I've learned over the last year. And that's what I'm really doing to help all of my clients right now and all the people that I'm working with. And, again, expanding that out to more people, once this SaaS product becomes available.
Well, we will watch this space to see what you come out with, Danny. I'm sure it's going to be interesting. The challenge I've found with all of the AI tools, all of them, absolutely all of them, is that content creation, I think, is possibly the worst use case for them, because they derive their inspiration, if you can call it that, from the material upon which they were trained. And the material that most of the, if not all of the AI tools out there were trained is the sewage of the internet. It's slop. And if you go to an AI tool of choice and say, write me a thing, it'll do it. And as you said, it'll be soulless. It might be neatly structured and following a 3-part framework that whatever you want. But I think the differentiator we have today in the world of automation of everything, and was something like 80%, I saw 80% of the content of the internet is AI generated and has been added in the last 2 years. What? Really? Yeah, and it's all shit. Really? Yeah. And the differentiator we have that video plays so well into is we can be real. You can't fake this. I can't fake talking to Danny in a long form conversation. It's not that long, but it's long enough.
Right.
And the value we get out of that is you get to riff off each other. You get to make a connection and have that conversation and build trust. And I think the trust thing is huge. Like you said, when you go onto that call the first time and somebody says, do you know, I feel like I know you. I love the way you get your hat like that on all your videos, right? Different hats, but it's your thing, okay? And I recognize it, and it just connects. And I know your background because I've seen it on your other stuff. I feel at home talking to you. I trust you.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the unfair advantage. That is the unfair advantage that any, whether it's, the founder of a company, whether it's one of the top executives, or whether it's somebody from the sales team, you can give yourself an unfair advantage by having this content. Yeah. And especially video content. Yeah. And, the reason that I really like to derive that content from your everyday conversations is, again, if it's going to be more real that way, right? But it's also, it's coming from like the clients and what they're asking. And you're understanding the language that those clients are speaking, and you're speaking it back to them in those words, right? So like you're using like what my friend Ken calls the voice of the customer, right? And that really helps people like build that deeper connection to you and make sure that the content is relevant. Because I ran a survey recently, and I think I had about 90 people respond to the survey. And I asked the question is like, what is the biggest struggle that you have with content? And the number one thing is that I put out content all the time, but I never get any business from it. Mm-hmm. And the reason is because you're not talking about the right things that resonate with your audience, because you're guessing what they want to hear instead of actually pulling what they want to hear from your conversations with them. That's the idea. That's the idea, is what are you doing every day? And let's take all those things that you're doing every day, and that is your content.
There you go. And using the language of the problem that they have. Yeah. In their own words, and just feed it back at them. So you said that. Yeah, I did. Would it be interesting if that could go away? Would it? Well, we should talk about, where do I sign? You want them to be pulling this stuff out of your hand. So there's a lot of folk, as you said right at the beginning there, you said a lot of people don't want to do this because they feel shy or uncomfortable, or they don't want to appear in camera, right? So, I've got a face for radio, so hopefully this won't be watched, but I'll be listening to this, all right. But how would you, given your experience in the way that you've been coaching hundreds of different people, different founders, how do you help sales leaders, sales reps in particular, because this is a selling tool we're talking about here. How do you use the tools and the techniques that you've built up to build that trust?
Yeah, absolutely. So, you have to overcome that fear of talking on camera, basically, right?
Yeah, that's just
And
tough. I
there's a
think,
couple of, it's not as tough as you think. Let me explain this to you
go on.
here. All right. There's two types of video content. There is what I call the lecturer style of video content, where I am going to look directly into the camera and I am going to give you my top 3 tips to make more sales in today's market, right?
Yeah.
That is, you're directly speaking into the camera. That takes a lot of practice, and that takes a lot of time before you get to be like really good at that, to where it feels natural, it feels authentic, and and it feels comfortable for you, right? It feels natural and authentic to the viewer and comfortable to you. But there is another style of content, which is the more what I call laid back style of content, which is conversational. It is capturing conversations that you are having. And if you look at all of the content and like you look at some of the big, entrepreneur content creators that are out there, the Gary V's of the world, the Hormozis, Cody Sanchez, these types of people, right? If you've looked at what they've done, in the past, 2 years ago, 1.5, 2 years ago, and what they're doing now, most of their content is them having a conversation and clipping that conversation and clipping those best parts of that conversation that are most relatable to their clients and to the problems that the clients have. And if you are just having a conversation and there's somebody on the other end, you can create amazing and better content without any practice, without having to like overcome that fear of like, oh, I need to do it perfect because I need to deliver it to camera perfectly. You can make a great video on your first video ever.
Yeah.
If you do it that way, right? So, and this is the whole principle of like what I built my business on, which is essentially I interview experts. I ask them questions directly related to their expertise and to their, client language, the voice of their customer. And we just kind of have these conversations, and then we clip the best parts of these conversations. And that's what then becomes these people's video content and the foundation for all of their content, right? Is these conversations. So, obviously, there's always practice makes perfect, right? And if you do it all the time and you show up often, you are going to get better and more confident. Or you could just do the conversational style where you don't need to practice at all. Just be yourself. Talk to somebody else. Capture that. Make it happen.
And if you are a communication and persuasion professional, as every salesperson out there should be, you're having conversations every day. So you're
Exactly.
already a professional. You're already an expert in opening your mouth and trying not to insert both feet. You're already good at framing something. So you said you've got this problem here. Why is that a problem for you? What's causing this and how much is that costing you? And you're just having the sales conversation. It's a discovery call, leading on to a positioning, leading on to, and capture that and chop it into bits perhaps.
100%. 100%. If you can run, and I do this on every call that I'm on, whether it's a sales call, whether it's a workshop or a client call, I have a separate camera that sits over here, and that camera is capturing my content or my conversations in the background while I am on the Zoom call talking to the client or talking to the prospect. And then at the end of that, I have a couple of different options that I can do with that. I have the transcript now and I can take that transcript and I can plop it into my kind of, my new SaaS tool, and I can get a bunch of content ideas. or I can clip it. I can clip what parts I want from that conversation. You know, like, hey, I really like what I said here at 5 minutes and 42 seconds.
Yeah, yeah.
I think my audience would really get a lot out of it. Let me put that up as the content.
And
So
yeah, gone.
you should have a camera running all day. If you could have a camera running all day, and you don't need to be Gary Vee and have somebody following you around with a camera all day. Just set one up on the side, get a nice little Insta 360 webcam, or set even your phone. Just set up your phone, let it record you while you're on a call. It's a beautiful thing. It's not hard to do, and you can capture so much content. Everything is content. It's beautiful.
I am 100% certain that you listening on your last sales call said something magnificent, and that you regret not being able to perfectly recall what it was, because when you said it, the other person went, "Oh, that's brilliant. I want three. Can you start on Monday?" And then you thought, "Oh, must use that again, but blow me, can you remember what it was you said?" Now, with the Danny DelVecchio method, we've got it on tape or on disc or on transcript, and you can clip it, teach it to yourself, or even just use it as content. I like that. I like that a lot. It's very clever.
Yeah, I mean, like, and there's all these tools now. There's all these like really great, and this is where like AI comes in, and
Mm,
like again, like AI is ruining a lot of things right now,
mhm.
but also AI is also enabling people that are using it correctly. So I use a tool called Fathom to
Yep. Well,
record all of
mm,
my Zoom meetings, right? And this tool is unbelievable. I mean, it literally it does an entire transcript of everything, and then it actually also, I can go to Fathom and I could say, I can use these different, like, I think I have the paid version, which is like $100 something for the year. It's like well worth the money. You could take any sales call and you can break it down by all the different sales methodologies. So they have BANT and they have MedPick and they have all these different things. And what I like to do is, I think it's the MedPick one. I forget which one it is. I like to click that button. And what it does is it gives you all the customers' objections, and it gives you all of the desires that they have. And it breaks it down, like if they
wow.
talk about their budget, like it'll tell you what their budget is. It automatically breaks this down for you. For $150, if like $10 a month, you get this. And like every sales call gives me like a detailed description broken down by these sales methodologies. And one of the things that they say is like, what are the customer's biggest challenges and what is their objections? And then there's another one that's like, again, what is it that they're looking to achieve? Well, their objections, what they're looking to achieve, and
Hello.
their biggest challenges is your content right there. That's everything that you should be talking about so that you can attract in the right people, right?
Yeah.
So these tools are so valuable nowadays if you use them right.
Yeah. That's the piece. I think if you use them right. I mean, I was talking before that content creation, I think, is, and I'm still convinced of this, that going to a tool and saying, write me a thing, is just a terrible way of doing anything. Going to a tool and feeding it something and then saying, take this thing that I have given you and turn it into something. What is somebody saying here? What are the key points? Using my tone of voice, use, reposition, repurpose. That I think is powerful. But
Yeah, it's
just
taking
whatever
that
you
piece of
do,
content, like
yeah.
taking that piece of what you said, taking your
Yes,
voice, your
yes.
insights, your thoughts in your words, and telling it, all right, I need a really good hook for this to get people's attention.
Mm,
Give me some ideas, right? It's it's going to pull it from it's going to pull it again from what's popular and what's new, and also take your voice into account, and then say, okay, cool, now we got this like really good hook. Now we can grab people's attention. Just take what I put together here and format it in a way that people like, but also use my language at the same time. And instead of getting some very generic kind of bland thing, what you end up getting is a really strong draft that's like 85 to 90% of the way there. And then you go in, you make a couple tweaks, you make a couple edits, boom, boom, boom. make sure that it sounds like you, add the right call to action, whatever you need to do. But that's it. It's so this is how you really, streamline, and this is easy mode. This is it. This is it. This is how you put your stuff on easy mode. But it has to come from you. It has to come from you. It has to originate with your video content. And that's why I believe that video content is the foundation to everything that you need to build a brand for yourself and a persona for yourself online, and do that to, again, attract in new clients and nurture them.
As I said, I think it's the present and future. It's the present and future of even enterprise sales, frankly, because
Totally.
if you have a long sales cycle, what's the one thing you want to have happen? For that sales cycle to be shorter. What are you trying to shortcut? Trust. You're trying to shortcut trust.
And I'll tell you one other way to shortcut trust too. Video testimonials.
Oh, beautiful.
Huge. We have been doing video testimonials for our clients. And this isn't even this is a service that we have been doing, but like we haven't even really marketed it too much. More just marketed it internally to my existing clients. We basically do an interview of the client and we try to find out three things. Number one is, why did they hire you? Of all the people that they could have chose, why did they choose you? And then number two is, what was the experience like working with you? How was the communication working with you? How was the, what educational, impact was there? What did you learn, right? And then the last thing is, what was the big impact and what was the big change that resulted as of your work together, right? So you capture those three things from a client perspective. And we call and we interview, we do these interviews with your clients and we make them super conversational. So again, it's comfortable for the client and they're just spilling all the good stuff. And then we put together like a really cool video with like all the best highlights from like what 5 or 6 different people have to say about you. Mm-hmm. And now you've got this piece of content that you can share with every single one of your prospects. That doesn't need to do anybody like, that you don't have to do any convincing. That does all the convincing for you. Because you've got social proof from a bunch of different people that say, hey, Danny helped me do this, and Danny helped me do this, and Danny helped me do this, and I achieved XYZ. And video testimonials are the most underrated form of content right now on the planet. They don't get a lot of views. They don't go viral or whatever, but they help you to sign clients. Every single proposal that I send out, I include a testimonial video. I have a bunch of testimonial videos and I look for, what is a trait that this person has that one of my other past clients had that they addressed it in the testimonial? Or what is a problem that this past client had that was also addressed in this testimonial? Boom, here. That increased my conversion rate, my own conversion rate. It increased it like 30 to 40%. And I've seen that from a lot of clients too, where it's increased their conversion rate by 30%. I've seen people close, 5-figure deals from one video. The video testimonials is super underrated thing that people are missing out on right now.
You know what? That's a good takeaway. The one other question that I know you're particularly hot on is the hook. Getting people beyond the first 5 seconds.
Yes.
Right? Talk to us about the hook. What's the core of it? Is there a magical structure? Because I hear 25 different ones a day, right?
Let's put it this way. The harder you work on the hook, the worse it's probably going to be. And I know this from my own experience, right? So like I've had, I've brought in experts to like analyze my content and see like, what am I doing well? What am I doing wrong? And basically what this one guy told me was, he's like, your first sentence sucks. Your second one's the hook. Because you're trying to like set it up and you're trying to make it perfect, but then you really get to the point, right? And I think what people do is one, they add way too much context,
Yeah.
right? You don't need to have a lot of context. Get right to the point because you don't have a lot of time to capture people's attention. The other thing is when you create a piece of content, especially a short form video, you need to kind of look at it the opposite of of a movie, right? So if you watch a movie, the way that a movie works is, there's an introduction and then there's like a build up and build up and build up. And then you've got this big thing that happens at the end, right? The big climax of the movie at the end. But with content and short form, especially, it's the opposite. You put that big climax outcome right at the beginning, and then you reverse engineer into how you got there.
There you go.
So instead of like, I did this, 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 and this, and this, and then I made $700 or whatever. It's here's how I made $700 in an hour. Let me walk you through the steps. And that's a really bad example. Like, who cares about $700? But like,
your impact is up front. So this is the impact that you've made. So this is what happens, which is what everyone. It's what I've spent most of my life trying to teach people to do. Is not to sell the thing, but to sell the thing that happens after the thing has been used. Way after the thing has been used. The impact. You sell the impact, and then you talk about the thing.
Yeah, it's like it's like spoiler alert. Yeah. No, it's the opposite. Like, give them the spoiler, yeah. and then work your way backwards on how you got to that, outcome.
Yeah, nice. What are you working on right now? Apart from your SaaS product, when can we see that?
That's the big thing that we're working on right now. I'm not sure when this is going to release, but it could. The first iteration of that SaaS product could be released by the time this comes out. Or if not, it could be like within the next couple of weeks. And if you want to get on the wait list, all you got to do is just message me on LinkedIn and I can put you on the wait list for that. But yeah, and again, we're working on video testimonials. That's a big thing that we've been working on for our clients that has provided the best ROI. I haven't had one client that did video testimonials that didn't get an ROI within the first 60 days, right? So that's a big thing. And then obviously just helping people make their video content, make that foundational video content. Whether that's again executives or founders, just helping them make their that foundational video content for LinkedIn. That's what I do.
There you go. And we can find you at your website.
Yeah, I mean, the best place to find me is on LinkedIn. If you just find Danny DelVecchio, or you can go to coachdannyd.com. That'll take you to my email list, or contentoneasymode.com is coming down the pipe soon with the app and everything on there. So if it may be up, like I said, it could potentially be up by the time you're hearing this.
There we are. Well, we'll make sure all these links are in the description for this.
Well, thank you so much.
And we'll make sure that goes out in the promo when we're sharing this with our vast audience out there in the world of LinkedIn. If I gave you my magic Sharpie, the biggest Sharpie you've ever had in your life, and thousands of billboards strategically located all around the world, what's the one message you would share with the world?
Yeah, it's to lean into who you are and show up as much as you can.
There you go.
And just to give you like a little bit of context, you see me, I got the backwards hat on, right? A lot of people look at my stuff and they're like, it's not for me. And that's okay. That's okay. Because this is part of me. This is part of who I am. This is part of my brand. And this is what attracts in the people that kind of look at it and like, I like the style. I may not even like the style for myself, but I get it. And I like the way that this guy does his thing. I like the way he does his business. Right. So, lean into who you are and show up as much as you can. And, good things will come to you.
And on that, we say, Danny DelVecchio, thank you very much indeed for joining me.
So thank you so much, Paul. It's been a pleasure. I do appreciate you having me out today.
Thank you.